Foster family agencies, or FFAs, usually care for children considered high risk, like those who are older or medically fragile. They often offer 24/7 support and medical coordination. Statewide, 90% of them are backed by the same insurer, Nonprofits Insurance Alliance of California, or NIAC. And last month, NIAC announced they won't be insuring FFAs anymore. They say it's too expensive. That's because in 2019, state law expanded the ability to sue for childhood sexual assault. The insurer says they can't afford more lawsuits and higher settlements.
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge crisis. Yeah. We need to really alert everyone about it.
Sue Evans leads an FFA in Southern California. She says over 35 years of working in child welfare, she's never seen a situation this serious.
This is a crisis for our children and young people. If we have to close our foster family agencies, it will leave a huge gap. There is nowhere else for these young people to go.
FFAs can't legally operate without insurance. The children would have to be placed in the county system, but many counties don't have enough homes or caseworkers to take them, and aren't prepared for the kinds of high-needs children FFAs serve. Children like Michelle's in San Diego.
It's been really wonderful and joyful. The kids have all been just fantastic.
We're using just her first name to protect the 4 children currently in her home. One just arrived the day before. After seeing the crisis in Syria on the news, Michelle and her husband began taking in unaccompanied refugee children through an FFA.
We kept having the thought, if there was no place else for them to go, they could come to our house.
In many ways, they're regular kids. They've got friends here now. They play on sports teams.
We talk a lot about kind of faith and what do you think about this and what do you think about that, and growing up and dating and homework, and maybe my favorite part is going on vacation.
But they've also gone through trauma most children haven't.
We have kids who have been trafficked. We have kids who have been tortured. We have kids that have escaped their home countries in order to avoid becoming child soldiers. We have kids who have come home one day to find their entire families and really their entire villages murdered by soldiers. As trauma goes, some people seem to sort of bounce back from these experiences, and some people, it clings on them in really heavy ways.
It takes time to earn these children's trust and create new stability.
We tell them, hey, we will never be able to replace your biological parents, but we will do the best that we can. You don't have to love us back, but we'll do the best that we can to love you. And the expectation is that they'll get to stay here until they grow up, that they'll get to decide when they're ready to leave.
This summer, NIAC drastically lowered coverage for homes with pools. So Michelle demolished hers, but it might not matter. NIAC is not renewing her FFA's insurance. Her family could pay the unintended price of a well-meaning law.
I feel like we made a promise to protect them. And it's really scary to think they could just be whisked out of our hands. I just keep picturing somebody walking up to my door and having to tell our kids, okay, bye. It was nice knowing you.
She and her husband have been praying a lot these last few weeks. She says they aren't up against any one person's bad intentions, but a system that isn't nuanced enough.
We're dealing with the law here. And laws are clunky. There are real individual children involved in this situation. You can't just stick them in any available slot. It's not a hotel, it's not an orphanage, it's not just a place for a kid to sleep for a little while until they grow up, but it's It's an attempt to give them the closest thing to what they've lost that we can.
FFAs are now scrambling for new insurance. But Sue Evans says the options are often twice as expensive and offer less coverage. They're asking elected officials to intervene, and Michelle is asking God. And the calendar is counting down to September 30th. Katie Hyson, KPBS News.